In this lecture, we will examine geographies of ethnicity. This topic is important to geographers to see how people are constructing a sense of social belonging through othering, a process of differentiating between individuals and groups. In a broad sense, ethnicity is defined as the personal and behavioral basis of an individual's identity that generates a sense of social belonging. This process of belonging involves othering, which is the act of differentiating between individuals and groups, such as that distinctions are made between me and you and between us and them. Furthermore, understanding ethnicity helps us to identify and study ethnic groups, which are people who share a collective identity that may derive from common ancestry, history, language, or religion, and who have a conscious sense of belonging to that group. Ethnic groups are not the same as nationality. Nationality is the expression of a person's affiliation with a country, usually in terms of citizenship. Who we say we are can be very subjective. It all depends on how we feel about our ancestry, how we identify ourselves, or in our behaviors, and this can change over time. In addition, the process of ascription can strongly influence one's identity. Ascription occurs when people assign a certain quality or identity to others or themselves. We are probably more aware of indigenous or native peoples and their identity than any time before. Three characteristics are applied in determining indigenous peoples. 1. Ancestral ties to pre-colonial or pre-settler societies. Hence, indigenous peoples are often sometimes called first peoples. 2. Self-identification of and acceptance by others as a member of an indigenous group. And 3. Status in society as a non-dominant group. The photo shows the Bolivian President Evo Morales taking part in a purification ritual prior to his formal inauguration. Morales' center is a Amerindia Indian and Bolivia's first indigenous president. Like race, ethnicity is a subjective social construction that defies the use of fixed categories that neatly divide and classify people. Governments use census data to identify and enumerate different ethnic groups. There are many reasons why governmental agencies would require enumeration. In South Africa, they did it to maintain social and political control. In the US, Brazil, Canada, and the United Kingdom, it is done to help identify minority groups and prevent discrimination. Many geographers use census data in their work, especially at certain geographic scales: national, state, county, census tract, and city block. This data is depicted in the series of scales in the maps and charts that you see. The map on the left of California highlights Los Angeles County, showing population data for the county. We begin to narrow down the scale to a specific census tract of Los Angeles County as shown in the map top left. The map at the bottom center is a census tract near LA, downtown LA, and the map at the top right shows census tract block groups and the specific block data as shown in the chart. The Census Bureau plays an influential role in shaping a discourse of identity in the United States. A discourse is a communication that provides insights on social values, attitudes, priorities, and ways of understanding the world. One of the issues with the discourse of the U.S. Census is that it reinforces and legitimizes certain ways of thinking about race and ethnicity, even though they may be misleading or inconsistent. Some scholars have argued that the census has been anchored to a discourse that draws on a binary vision created by the categories of white and non-white, where the non-whites are further subdivided into blacks, American Indians, Chinese, Asian Indians, and so on, but white remains a singular category that is not subdivided. In reality, race and ethnicity is not so clear-cut. Responses to the accompanying census questions about race and ethnicity, shown in the image on the left, were tallied to generate the pie charts and map. The U.S. Census form is sent to all households every 10 years. Note that Hispanic origin is represented as something other than race. This has to do with the way the U.S. Census gathers information about race and ethnicity in a broader discourse of identity. Looking at the pie charts, the pie chart on the left shows Hispanic and non-Hispanic origin for the population. The pie chart on the right shows the count and percentage of those selected just one racial category. The map shows the leading minority groups by county. The majority white, non-Hispanic were excluded in the map to show the distribution of minority groups alone. It is interesting to see the prevailing minority groups and where they are located. Also, another interesting fact is that California, Hawaii, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico are majority minority, meaning that more than half of the population is minority. Ethnicity has visible and invisible aspects. Depending on the person, one's ethnic identity may or may not be strongly tied to ancestry. This map shows the ancestral roots of the U.S. population based on the census data. Please pause the video, study the map, and answer the following. In which instance in this map is identifying ethnicity difficult and why? In your own words, use the text as a guide, be thorough and specific with your answer.